Bears, blog, boys, you know it all, computer, analytic, geeky nerds. Michael Schneider, Tom Cavanaugh, the Bear, blog, boys, know-it-alls, doing some podcast somewhere. Nobody wants to hear you. Geeks, you pencil-pushing, skinny jean-wearing geeks, you.
Coming to you live from our mom's basement, this is the Bears Vlog Boys podcast. I am your co-host, Tom Cavanaugh, here with my good buddy and other co-host, Michael Snyder. Snyder, we could not join last week to do a preview show. We obviously had the holidays, other obligations. I got really sick. If you guys can't tell, my voice is still kind of in and out. But I'm really excited to be back. Obviously, it's not on the best terms. The Bears lost this past weekend. But buddy, how are you doing? How are your holidays? And how are you enjoying your Bears experience, your Bears watching experience in a pretty crazy game?
Dude, I think we all got the same sickness, Tom. So we were all at a Christmas party. Well, it was last Saturday when the Bears beat the Packers. I've been ever since that Sunday morning. I've woken up with the ick. Every morning I gotta go on a walk, gotta take a shower, have some tea, just to clear myself up. So I've been battling with that as well. But I actually just kind of laid low for this Bears game, stayed at home, and man, what a game, Tom. That was it was a heartbreaker, but man, if you're gonna take an L to one of the best teams across the NFL, I'm okay with taking it that way. We'll dive into what I'm disappointed about and what we've kind of been talking about throughout this season on the pod. But man, we'll get into it.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely like a playoff atmosphere type game.
Right.
And it was really encouraging to see the Bears answer the bell. You know, the game starts off pretty crazy, pick six opening play, and you felt really good. But yeah, all the concerns that you had definitely showed themselves here. But I think a lot of positives also show themselves that, hey, the 49ers offense is absolutely rolling right now. They are rolling over everyone. And the Bears offense was able to go toe-to-toe with them. Granted, the Niners defense is not very good, but so was the Bears. The Bears defense is also not very good. I think it goes to show, Snyder, I don't want to make this conversation like forecasting the future in the playoffs, but if the Bears run up against these teams with these really high-powered offenses, this is the way they're going to have to win. Obviously, they weren't able to close the game, but they're going to have to go score for score and end up, with the ball in their hands on the last drive and close that out, because I think we've seen enough now. I know the Bears defense has had a lot of great turnovers. They lead the league by far in turnovers, and I'm able to, I think, help them statistically, bring down the scoring, averaging per game and stuff like that. But ultimately, this is just not a very talented group. 880 combined yards over the last two games. I mean, just astronomical numbers that they're allowing. And the NFC has a lot of good offenses, right? So, yeah, I mean, it was a really a game of I don't even know how to put it. The offense was great. The defense was bad. It's kind of the theme of the season, like you said, Snyder.
Yeah, so here we know where the team fell short this past Sunday. When you put up 38 points, you should find a way to win the game that typically
Absolutely.
you do. And this was what I'm just so happy and kind of proud of is the offensive performance, right? You put up 38 points. You see just a super efficient passing attack, super efficient running game, and the offensive line. And then here, you're missing still your top guy in Rome Odunze, and you have a guy like Luther Burden step up. You have Colston Loveland step up, and you're just so proud of that. But this was always my take, right? That here, this defense, you could get away with, playing J.J. McCarthy, Spencer Rattler, Stoop Huntley, Jackson Dart, Malik Willis, and then, some of the other guys. But when you're going against a professional quarterback, seasoned vet who just has incredible pocket awareness and presence in Brock Purdy, that guy, any pressure that was coming his way, he just stood confidently in the pocket, either if he stepped up to it or he maneuvered out of the pocket or maneuvered within the pocket. He was finding guys across the middle of the field, just dicing this Bears defense up. And then when you try to win with four, and your four can't win one-on-one reps, and you got a guy who could go through his reads, get rid of the ball quickly. That's what it's gonna look like, especially at a quarterback like Purdy, a coach like Shanahan, and just an overall team like the 49ers. That's what it's gonna be like, right? Especially in the playoffs against teams that are kind of built under that same recipe, who have that pedigree, who have been there. This is what it's gonna look like, right? It's gonna be a shootout like this where your offense needs to score in the upper 30s, mid 40s to even be considered, have a fighting chance. And the defense got really exposed. Nishawn Wright, I know I love him for his turnovers. Love him for it, the way he attacks the ball. The guy was getting diced up all game, and he kind of got exposed there. You love the interceptions, and sometimes it's game changing. But when you're getting routed up like that, and they're constantly moving the chains, now you kind of get exposed. Combine that with the defense, not getting home, and then poor Dennis Allen, he tries to send some blitz. Now he's leaving some of those guys one-on-one, and then you can't win. Sad that great of an effort by the offense couldn't get it done. But I always thought this was going to be what it looked like late in the season against these premier teams. Once you get in the playoffs, I think it's going to look like that as well. I mean, but at the end of the day, the Bears are 3-4 yards away from winning the game. So if the Bears are going to make a run and they are going to beat these teams, it's going to come to playing offense the way they did, and they just need to close it out. And it could have we're that close from getting a win and kind of masking that defensive performance.
For sure. And the play call at the end, there was definitely some problems there. Ben Johnson alluded that after the game that it didn't get in quick enough. That was on him. There wasn't a smooth transition getting that play out on the field. There was definitely some problems there. And you wonder if they were able to get that in successfully, what that could have looked like. Could the Bears have closed out the game? I think there was a couple things maybe they'd want back on that last drive. But ultimately, Snyder, I totally agree with your point. If you score 38 points in a game, you should win. I think this loss is 100% on the defense. And you brought it up. Dennis Allen right now his hands are so tied. His hands are so tied on how he wants to call the defense versus how he has to call the defense, right? Exactly. Dennis Allen wants to be aggressive with his coverages and disguise things, play a lot of man, play a lot of match. So even when they're playing zone, guys are matching routes. And I think after that Green Bay game, the first one where they got absolutely torched in man coverage, they have just kind of threw that out the window. They're playing spot drop zone, keep everything in front, very, very conservative style. And when you go up against a really good offensive coordinator like Kyle Shanahan, he's going to know exactly how to get after you. You brought up, but between the numbers, the Bears were getting shredded. Yeah. I mean, it was Tremaine Edmonds was targeted 7 times and he allowed 7 receptions, 2 touchdowns for 50 yards. I mean, they knew exactly where to go with the ball. The Bears too, another thing, Simon, that kind of blew my mind. The Niners were incredibly efficient on play action passes. They averaged 0.67 EPA per pass on play action passes. This is not new. This is what the Niners do, right? So what was your game plan heading in? It was kind of just don't give up the explosive play. And even still, the Niners were able to get plenty of explosive plays in this one. So there wasn't there was only 2 defensive players in this performance for the Bears that had PFF grades over 65. So if that tells you anything, this was a collective disappointing effort. Yes, the Bears can't rush with 4. Their second-level players are struggling. I would say, Kevin Byard had a down game in this game. He's been pretty good this season, but everyone else, I mean, Brisker, Edmonds, Edwards, they're all kind of struggling right now to find themselves. And then when you look at Dennis Allen, when you go up against these better offenses, you can't blitz, right? Because then you're going to get torched. They'll figure that out. But what else are you supposed to do? You can't pressure with 4. I mean, it's just, when you look at this group, it's like, what do they do well? What can you rely on for this group to have any type of success? it's hard to point at, right? Like it's hard to figure out. There's not an easy solution here. And it's really just the offense has to bear a lot more of the load when you go up against these better offenses. I think from the past 2 weeks that they have to be step for step, right? And when they're not, this is kind of the result that's going to happen. So, yeah, I don't mean to be all negative. I wanted to get the negative out of the way, but it goes to show you, Steiner, that this offseason, no matter where the Bears end up, I mean, a total overhaul on this side of the ball.
Yeah, and it's funny. The defensive line already is expensive, right? Dio, Montez Sweat, and Grady Jarrett, I think, account for around $60 million against the cap this year. And I think the way it's structured, it doesn't get more favorable next season. There needs to be some retooling. You have to have some tough conversations. Starts with Montez Sweat, starts with DJ Moore, starts with Cole Kmet. Just, maybe retooling. A little Tremaine Edmonds as well. Kind of those guys are going to be the main point of discussion. I know that's not what this episode is for. The one bright spot I thought about the defense, so I think who's really coming away of being a contributor, is Austin Booker.
Yeah.
I think, for what it was, 5th round pick, guy I thought would maybe just kind of be like a pass rush specialist, is seeing a bulk of the snaps. I mean, 5 total pressures. He had a couple batted balls down, pass rush win rate just under 20%. I think he is developing, but again, he's just kind of one dude. And Montez Sweat, I'm not saying he's bad, right? I'm not saying he's good. But when you account for him making, $25 million and he's giving you like the same production, maybe a little bit less than Austin Booker, it's just disappointing, right? I'm not calling him bad. It's just calling a spade, right? For what he's getting paid and the production that we're getting from him, paying him like a 1, you're not really seeing, him winning one-on-one reps a lot. You're not seeing him making those game-changing plays. I know he might have a sack or 2 or a batted ball throughout the season, very sporadically, but the snap-to-snap basis, the production is not there, and unfortunately, you're not really getting it from anyone on the inside to kind of help you out a little bit. So just a very, very disappointing performance about the defensive line. But I mean, we've been talking about it all year, right? When it comes against these good teams, they are going to get exposed, right? You're not playing your backup quarterbacks or your first year quarterbacks like we kind of been majority of the season. This is a time that they're going to get tested, and it showed. But again, at the same time, I couldn't be more proud and more thankful of this offensive performance. It's like the best way you could take a loss is the way the Bears took their L, because there are just so many good takeaways on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the offense is really hitting their stride to the point that they could really hang with the best teams in the league is a really encouraging sign. And I think heading into the playoffs, like that's exactly what you want to see. Most definitely, like you're definitely encouraged with the offense center, and I don't want to keep focusing on the defense, but you brought up some of the with Montez Sweat and like the disappointment with him. Beyond just him, how expensive the defensive line is, Snyder. The Niners' offensive line is not a good pass blocking unit, and also worth mentioning, Trent Williams went down the first play of the game, so they were without Trent Williams, their best offensive lineman, on top of just like not being that good of a true drop back team in pass protection. And they had the 5th worst pressure rate on the week. Without Trent Williams, they only had 1 sack. I know Austin Booker had I would say an admirable performance for sure. He was able to bat some balls down, like you said, when they were able to keep Purdy in the pocket. But like, again, when you can't win with 4, or you don't even have a single guy that can win consistently, it just puts you behind the 8 ball almost every time. Yes, you can blitz bad, inexperienced quarterbacks and confuse them with the different pressures you can dial up. But even then, that's not where Dennis Allen comes from. That's not what he does. Like, right? Like, I don't even think that's his specialty. Like, he's a good defensive coordinator, but they had talent in New Orleans for a long time that allowed him to play in the style that they were. I think especially on the back end. And that's, frankly, it's just not the case right now for the Bears. It's hard for him to just like, or it's hard for as a fan and someone who analyzes this to just expect some solution at some point in the season. Like you said, like when they run up against these better teams, it is just going to be hold on to the seat of your pants and just hope that they can get these turnovers. Their turnover luck can continue. But we know that's kind of a fluky stat. Those stats are kind of fluky. Those things don't really repeat themselves usually as much as they have for the Bears. So yeah, we can definitely transition more into the offense and talk why they had success. But at the end of the day, it is a performance like this, Snyder, no matter how encouraged we can be with the offense, is really worrisome when you're heading into the playoffs and you're going to be going up against the best offenses in the league.
Yeah, and again, I think that's what we expected, right? Like my main reason for being so optimistic that the Bears were finding ways to win so many games this year with the offensive performance not that great, right? Caleb being a little bit inconsistent, the wide receivers and Caleb still figuring out their connection, but they were still finding ways to win. I'm like, damn guys, like I think the Bears can hang with any team once this thing gets balanced, right? Once you see Caleb getting more comfortable, once you see the run game going, right? That damn, the Bears could hang with any team. And given that, when it comes to playing a team like the 49ers or your playoff team, that's what the offense is going to have to be. It's going to have to be a balanced attack, right? And it just went on full display because we had no faith in the defensive line against a team like this. And then you just see it totally come to fruition. The Bears put up 38 points. They're 5 yards away from beating one of the best teams in the NFL. But then where you fell short was on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I'm still encouraged, right? Like if the Bears can have that offensive performance, you have a fighter's chance against any team across the NFL.
For sure, absolutely. And the nice thing about the NFC, I'll say, is that I don't really see like a totally complete team. Like the Eagles have a stellar defense, right? I know the Bears beat the brakes off them, but they have a stellar defense. Their offense is abysmal. Like they cannot figure it out against anybody. So if the Bears were able to run into the Eagles, then I'm not too worried. The Packers defense right now is getting absolutely shredded without Micah Parsons. And even though their offense is really good and explosive. So again, there's not like this like juggernaut team. Even the Rams right now, their defense has been really struggling as of late. And you kind of wondered how legitimate they were even earlier in the season because the talent didn't really match the results. So there's not like this juggernaut team. I'm saying, if the Bears run into them, they have no chance, right? This performance, Snyder, totally agree. It gives them a puncher's chance against anybody, in my opinion. It goes to show that this offense can be as good as any offense in the league. And we can talk about why. But yeah, I'm with you there. I was really impressed with Caleb in this game. I thought he did a lot of beyond just like the crazy wild throws down the field. He was creative, right? The Niners players talked about how hard he was to stop when he was able to get out of the pocket. And Center, I think what we're seeing as of late, the arm talent, the talent and how Caleb is just able to put so much velocity on the ball from whichever platform. It's like nothing is limited to him. Like he's able to make every single throw. And we didn't see that really earlier in the year, right? We didn't see the special talent. It was more about keeping him within the structure of the play. And that's a good thing. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. Like that's the majority of where the quarterback position is won. But we didn't really see the special off-platform, down the field throws. And I think over the last 3 weeks specifically against the Browns, against the Packers, and now against the Niners, we're starting to see the special sprinkled in, right? In this game specifically, I had him charted with 4 big-time throws. So there was a lot to like in terms of the high end, why Caleb is such a special talent. The throw to me, Snyder, that I loved was the Loveland throw.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Loveland touchdown, because that thing is on a line. I think most quarterbacks would have to put some air on that thing to get it to where it ended up. It was like a 35-yard pass, and Caleb just drills it in there. And the DBs have no time to make a play on it because Caleb just zipped it in there. It just goes to show you he is so talented physically, and we're starting to see him play with more confidence. And I think that's leading to better accuracy down the field. And then ultimately he's able to show why he was the number 1 overall pick.
I think that's perfectly said. He is more comfortable, and in turn, he just looks so much more confident. He is letting it rip. I mean, I seen PFF also had him for 4 big-time throws, but what stands out to me, and this has just been actually consistent throughout the season is that the interceptions are like almost nothing. The turnover worthy plays are almost nothing. Like that's what impresses me so much. Now, on top of him getting more confidence and now throwing it down the field with accuracy, trusting his wide receivers, and to even sustain those, those turnover worthy, I'm sorry, lack of turnover worthy and lack of interceptions to sustain that, goes says a lot about Caleb Williams. And not even talking about his growth from avoiding sacks, getting rid of the ball faster. He's doing everything that you can ask for a quarterback going into year 2, and only being with this coach for one offseason in the very first year. I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, he's exceeded my expectations early on. I couldn't be more ecstatic about Caleb Williams being the quarterback for the Chicago Bears and just showing his growth within the season. Like I said, once he figures it out, combine that with the running game, let these, young guns kind of come out from the depths in Colston Loveland and Luther Burden. I mean, it's just so much. It's so exciting that all that is tying in together. And again, it's weird to take a victory lap on a loss, but like I said, they went out like heavyweights, man, and I couldn't be more proud. And I could talk all day about this offensive performance. It's one of the best that I've seen, and it just makes me so excited moving forward.
Yep, and I want to talk about the draft class because I think like they absolutely shine in this game, right? The entire 2025 rookie draft class, the offensive players. But just to put a bow on Caleb, it wasn't all too like out of structure. Like he was making a lot of good plays. Even the not checkdowns, but the shorter passes, like that is such a far cry from it's not like he's just bailing to those plays. It is like, this is the right read. He's going through his read. He's finding the open guy. He just looks like a totally different player. And I think the biggest difference from the earlier halves of the year to now, we already brought it up, is the confidence. Like he's just has so much of a better feel in this offense. And that's a really good sign as you head into the playoffs. Like I'm so glad the Bears offense is hitting the stride, even against the Packers. I didn't think there was like, I know they only scored 6 points earlier in the game. I think it was just a couple bad breaks on some critical third downs. I didn't really think that they were having problems on the offense to where they couldn't function. They just couldn't stay on the field because of their defense. And then a couple of plays here and there that kept them off the field. So I think overall these last, I would say 4 games, the first Packers game to now, the offense has just looked really, really good, especially in the past game. And then the Bears didn't even have to run the ball that much in this game, but when they did, they totally took over. And I'll just say as well, Steiner, I thought Ben Johnson was incredible situationally. I thought he just had a beat on whatever the Niners were trying to do. Chris Collinsworth kept highlighting it. Whenever they were bringing that nickel blitz, they had a play right designed for it. They kept exploiting it. On 4th down, they had the right plays dialed up. They knew the coverages that they were going to get. I thought you saw that on a lot of those Luther Burden motion plays. On those long and late downs, they got man coverage. They got Luther Burden in motion. He doesn't have to deal with press. He's wide open. Ben Johnson was just really on his game, and he's been on his game for quite some time now. He is on an absolute heater.
Yeah, I mean, you love that, right? One of the things is the offensive line. I think why Caleb feels more comfortable, I think he trusts this offensive line, right? Yep. He's not abandoning the clean pocket, right? He's not getting frantic over it, like a slight pressure. He believes that he could stay in this pocket, step into it. And then you mentioned, I love those motions with Luther Burden, right? With him inside, because then, on those plays that Caleb's extending, you see him kind of coming back to the ball, cutting, and Caleb just delivering a dot to Luther Burden. That one on the sideline was incredible. I mean, Luther Burden, the official stat, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 138 yards for a tug. For him to just step up with the absence of Odunze Olamide Zaccheaus and just showing why he belongs on the field. This was a statement game for Luther Burden. If you're a fan of football, Look, I mean, his advanced stats are really well. His yards per route run. He's just a football player, right? And you could just see that through the eye test, right? That guy just knows how to play football. He knows how to extend play. That one play, I think it was third down. It was like third and long, 3rd and 10, and he goes to like the right hash, and his stop ability to make that guy miss and just go upfield for that first down, like that was huge.
I'm glad you brought it up because he caught a lot of his passes outside the numbers, like because they were getting man coverage. They were doing those motion plays where they had him motioning out. He'd break to the outside. There wasn't a whole lot of like pro yak yards, in my opinion, or routes, I should say, where he's like catching in breakers over the middle of the field. He still had 57 yards after the catch, right? He averaged 7.1 yards after the catch per reception. So like that was all Luther Burden. He was creating those yards on his own. He is just so incredibly talented. You can just see it. Like he's just got the it factor, and I love the way the Bears are using him. Again, a far cry from last year where we talked about all season that the usage of this receiving core makes no sense. They have Keenan Allen running 20 yards down the field. Like there's a bunch of problems where Luther Burden slots into the offense. And Ben Johnson has a plan for him immediately, right? It knows exactly what to do with him. They're lining him up off the line of scrimmage. They're putting him in the slot. They're giving him these easy targets, and he is the most dynamic player on this Bears team with the ball in his hands. And they're treating him as such, and they're getting him these easy layups. And then also, too, he's made a bunch of plays down the field. He's got great ball skills. That touchdown he catches, extremely late hands. It seemed like the defender had no idea the ball was even coming. It was a perfect throw, but Luther Burden waits to the last second to show his hands, catches that touchdown pass. I mean, he's been the natural talent that just kind of oozes off Burden. It's so enticing, and you know, I think this really the sky's the limit for him. He can be one of the best receivers in the league, and this was the game I think that really he broke out.
He has all the ability in the world, man, and the fact that he's paired up with Ben Johnson, that you could have eased him in, right? He had to fight to get playing time. He had to fight to climb up that depth chart. And the fact that he is just making the most and he had to earn it, what a perfect situation for Luther Burden, right? He definitely earned it. You know, Antoine Randall was the one that wanted him. What a pairing for that with Ben Johnson, with Caleb Williams. Wasn't a lot of pressure on him, and the fact that, again, that he had to earn it, I think was like exactly what Luther Burden needed. And I think I'm so happy that the Bears get the benefit of him kind of falling to that second round. No one would have expected that pick, right? Like we were totally blindsided by it. But here, credit to Ryan Poles, credit to Ben Johnson for making that pick, because look, injuries happen. Now you have playoff aspirations. You just won the division. You have a star wide receiver out in Roman Dunze, and now you're prepared for it because you drafted best player available. And you got a guy, 138 yards, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 1 tug. You've seen the yak ability, and now you are a playoff team who is prepared to overcome an injury like you did. So again, I just couldn't be more ecstatic with the pick, the thought process behind it, and just the player just growing, earning his keep, and just showing out. And he's so young too, man. Like that's the core, right? Moving forward, Caleb, Adunze, Burden, Colston Loveland, like that's your long-term core. And I can't wait to get Adunze back to see all this combined. But how proud are you of Luther Burden and Colston Loveland and their performances?
Yeah, it's such an incredible development. And with Burden specifically, Center, I think you brought up a great point. Like there was definitely some rounded parts of his game, like where like that's why he wasn't playing. It wasn't just because, oh, he's a rookie, he's got to earn. Well, you do have to earn it, but like there was definitely some reasons they kept him off the field because he wasn't used to being in such a timing-driven offense or such a timing-driven role, right? Where you got to know where the quarterback needs to know exactly where you're going to be on the field at all times, because this is an anticipation timing offense. So there's reasons he wasn't playing. He was not asked to do those things at Mizzou. Just flat out the truth. So the fact that he's able to come along from where he was in such a short amount of time, in one season, he's already like showing that he could probably be the Bears' best receiver. it's so encouraging, and it's such a huge development for this team because he is that dynamic. Like he does have top 10 wide receiver caliber talent. It's just whether or not the other stuff was going to come, the mental side of it was going to come along, the effort side of it was going to come along. And right now it has. So yeah, credit to Ryan Poles, credit to Ben Johnson. But I would say I don't know the ins and outs of the building and like how the coaching goes. But I think Antoine Randall deserves so much damn credit because we've seen him do with other receivers who've had similar issues in the past. I'm sure he has had a large hand at getting Luther Burden ready to go. So I want to transition to Loveland because I thought he was also an absolute star in this game. He obviously has the touchdown where he makes the play of knowing, hey, Caleb Williams, the route was to the left side. Caleb is rolling to his right. He adjusts his route. They play backyard football. They have that connection down the field. He catches it with his hands, touchdown. Also, the out and up he's able to make late in the game, a 30-yard completion down the field. And then all those critical third and fourth downs, he's just coming up big after time after time after time. On third and fourth down, they were going to Colston Loveland.
Oh, yeah.
The play that stands out to me the most was on that fourth down. The Niners bring cover zero. They're bringing everyone. It's man coverage, one-on-one across the board. Colston Loveland just gets open with a slant route, right? Against the corner. We talked about it. Why he was so appealing for this team is you could use him like a wide receiver. He's the outside guy, slant route, wins his route, comes up big for a fourth down conversion that allowed the Bears to score a touchdown and answer the Niners 35-35. So, like, again, he was an absolute stud in this game. He's come along. I could not be more thrilled with what the Bears are currently getting out of Colston Loveland.
And that's the thing with him, right? You talk about great stat line, right? He had 9 targets as well, right? He was the safety blanket, 94 yards and a touchdown. But the thing that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, the guy's relentless in blocking, right? Yes. The guy blocks with like his head on fire, his motor, and his ability to impact the offensive side of the ball. In the run game there, it's one of those things that's it's not gonna be talked about, right? You're gonna have the stat sheet there, and that alone, right? You're already thrilled with that performance. That doesn't even, go to show how else he's impacting the run game. The guy is, again, like Luther Burden to me. You could just look at him, football player, right?
Yep.
Eye test. The guy knows how to play football, and I always talk about like his ball skills too, right? The guy is sure. I know he had that one drop. I think Collinsworth even said it, like that was his first drop of the season. I'll live with that, right? Through week 17, I could live with that. Again, I couldn't be, like you said, more thrilled with the performance of Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. The way they just have stepped up, and they're so young, right? And they're rookies, and there's still more upside with them. And again, it's just so pleasant to see.
Yeah, I don't even think we've seen the best of either yet. I think it's only going to get better from here. And the blocking is such a great point, Snyder, because we talked about the whole conversation, when Tyler Warren was doing so well, they were like, how could the Bears possibly have taken Tyler Warren over Colston Loveland? The blocking element was a huge reason why, right? Ben Johnson's offense is way different than Shane Steichen's gimmicky offense, right? It's so much more condensed. It's not as spread out. They need their tight ends to block. Not saying that they don't need them in Indianapolis too. You definitely need to block in Indianapolis, but it's such a different offense to where blocking, I think, was a way bigger disclaimer to be a truly effective at this position. Because with Laporta, when Ben Johnson had him, he kind of had to scheme around Laporta's blocking limitations. Whereas Loveland, you don't have to do that at all. Loveland is already one of the highest graded run blocking tight ends in the league. And look, PFF grades aren't the fucking gospel. But if you watch the game, Collinsworth pointed it out on some of the run plays. Loveland is just totally driving guys from his gap, right? He's totally taking over as a blocker. And that's exactly what he did in college, right? He was one of the better blocking tight ends I can remember coming out of college. Just the fact that he was so ready from a technical standpoint and also had the strength to go up against bigger defensive ends and defensive linemen. It was really, really impressive. So, and I also think that the big difference with Warren and Loveland is that, yeah, Loveland might not have had the stats early on, But if you look at Warren's stats, a lot of it was like schemed up production. And that's what Warren does really, really well. He's a very good player with the ball in his hand. Loveland in this game, I think you saw on those downs where you need a bucket, where guys need to create their own yards. That's what Loveland does really well, right? He gets open. He when you have to rely on guys to win one-on-ones against teams like the Niners who are going to play man coverage on late downs, well, that's where Loveland's going to shine. He's going to move the sticks. That's where he's really, really good. And we saw that come to life. All the reasons you drafted him 10th overall, we saw that on full display in this game.
No doubt about it. Just a mismatch wherever you put him. A football player through and through, ball skills, blocking the run, everything, man. He's just a football player, man. He couldn't be more thrilled with that pick.
Yep. And the last thing I'll end off this, we're talking about this draft class. I mean, Monangai's obviously been great too. I mean, he's been really you could make an argument he's been the best rookie running back in this draft class so far. I'm not saying that's going to stay. Obviously, there's a lot of talented guys above him, but in terms of the most consistent, you could argue it's been Kyle Monangai. Ozzie Trapillo also having a really strong game in pass protection in this one. I thought this was his best game. I mean, the whole offensive side of the ball, that rookie class, it's looking like one of the better draft classes in the league. And it didn't look like that earlier in the year because those guys weren't playing as much. But that's how it goes, right? Rookies start to play more as they get a better grasp of this offense. And that's how it's been so far. Ozzie Trapillo has locked down that starting job at left tackle. And then obviously we just mentioned all the good things that Burden, Loveland, and Monangai are doing. So this draft class is looking like a massive win for Ryan Poles. And I think not more importantly, but someone who deserves a lot of credit is Ben Johnson, because all these guys were brought in to the Bears offense under Ben Johnson's vision. They slotted right into the offense that he wants to run.
Yeah, and dude, the fact that it's such a complicated timing, high IQ, instinctive type of offense that, that's why early on I kind of understood why Olamide Zaccheaus is getting a lot of time, right? Just that veteran who just has those like natural instincts and everything. You've seen him, a lot of guys like in Detroit kind of thrive in that same system, high IQ, play through the whistle, block it up. I understood why some of those guys were getting more playing time. Because again, same thing with Cole Kmet over Loveland. I'm like, it's going to be a process. Like, this offense is complicated. It's super complex. It takes a lot of IQ, instincts. But the fact that Ben Johnson kind of built this culture, and I'm sure it goes to the way he practices, the way he holds guys accountable. The fact that he's gotten Loveland, Burden up to speed already with this offense. Same thing with Monangai, right? Same thing with Trapillo, that he's got these guys already comfortable in his system. It just goes to the culture, right? I mean, Tom, look at last year, right? Does Luther Burden, if he's with Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron, it's a totally different outcome for that individual. It just goes to show how important it is to get that head coach right, because it makes the world of difference in development, the culture, and just the IQ of all these players individually. And you're just seeing it fully on display, what the Ben Johnson effect has done to this offensive side of the ball.
Yep, they're bought in and they are executing way better than they were earlier in the year. And I still think it can even get better from now. So yeah, I mean, it has just been such a nice change for once, that this team is the more prepared team usually, or the just as prepared team. And they're just really hitting on all the details of this offense and why the output has been so good over the last 4 weeks. I mean, it has been as good as it's ever been for the Bears offense. And it's crazy to say that is the stronger unit on this team, because the Bears teams of the past, defenses carried them, and that has not been the case this year. The offense has really come along and they're really playing well right now. All right, Snyder, I think that's going to be, I think we pretty much covered the game so far. And I don't know if we'll do a full blown preview on this upcoming game, because it sounds like the Bears starters will play against the Lions, but it doesn't really do a whole lot because they've already won the division. They're going to be the 2 or 3 seed most likely. They will be the 2 or 3 seed actually. So that's a lie. So I guess we can just kind of close it on the different playoff scenarios and who they might play. Right now, they'd be going up against the Packers. But it sounds like the Eagles might rest their starters this week, but they're still playing the Commanders. So even if they do, they could still win. Is there any playoff opponent you would want to face more than others? Is what I'll pose to you.
I'm gonna sound so scary for this. I'm gonna start by saying I don't want to play the Packers. I don't want to play a team 3 times in one season.
Yes, especially so close together too. That's
Yeah, and it goes to credit. Not that I'm worried about anyone on their roster. I think Matt LaFleur is still one of the best coaches across the NFL. The way you just have Malik Willis playing, just a game plan for him ready to go, and just having that much film against the Bears, against Ben Johnson. It's not. I know it's not like I'm scared to play the Packers, yada yada yada, and it feels great to knock them out of the playoffs. It's just like you don't want to play a team 3 times in one season, right? There's just so much, and it can go both ways. You can look at it. It's just I just want to stay away from that. I have no problem playing the Eagles again. They're at home. Maybe get revenge from the double doink. I think that would be bittersweet. I mean, you can give me reasons why you could say I'd be scared to play the Eagles or the Packers for those same reasons. But yeah, I think I just want to stay away from the Packers. So if there's anything we could do to help that, I would be game for.
I don't think it's a scenario because, or maybe if the Niners win, I don't know. If the Niners, yeah, it's not a scenario anymore. So it looks like the Bears will be playing either the Rams or the Packers. Or the Niners, possibly again. If the Niners lose, I don't know how. The Rams would have to win. So yeah, I think those are the teams they could play. They couldn't even play Seattle or the Eagles because Seattle would just be the top seed. But among those teams, I mean, those are hard outs. I think those are all really good teams. The Niners, the Rams, the Packers. I don't really have a good answer for you on who I'd rather play. But I think while they are good teams, I think the Bears can beat all 3 of them. But it should be really interesting to see how these last couple games shake out. In an ideal world, Steiner, I would want to play the Eagles or whoever wins the NFC South. Like that's ultimately who I'd want to play. Obviously, it's not going to work out like that because both those teams will be divisional winners like the Bears. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We'll discuss that more when it shakes out, and then obviously we'll do the playoff preview. But I think other than that, how could you not be really excited with where the Bears are at? They're NFC North champions. They're heading into a playoff game. Senator, since we've started this podcast, this is the first playoff appearance the Bears have ever been in, which is also pretty crazy to say.
Very crazy to say. Here, one more thing. Caleb Williams is 270 yards away from hitting that 4,000 yards. So we'll see what happens there. I hope the Bears play from start to finish, and Caleb does get over that milestone. I mean, he'd be the first Bears quarterback in his team history to accomplish that. And it's one I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I know a lot of people say, well, there's an extra game. But a good point that someone said, that the way the kickoff rules are nowadays, the way that you're having that shortened field, it's kind of hard to get over that 4,000 mark. You're not seeing it. It was very prevalent, maybe like 10 years ago, you see like maybe 15 plus quarterbacks over that. But I think that the number is severely shrink because of that rule. So, all credit to Ben Johnson, Caleb, and this offense if he does get over that mark.
For sure. Yeah, most definitely. That will be one to watch out for. Definitely excited to see if Caleb can do that. And yeah, the rules have definitely made it harder for sure. All right, y'all. Well, I think that's going to be it from us today. So until we are back, keep it real and bear down.
Bear down.